Unleash the power of purpose with impactful business voices, hosted by Nancy Baki and Anita Larsen. Each week, you'll be inspired by stories from companies that are making a real difference in the world, and you'll learn practical tips on how to grow your business with an impact.
Hey, everybody, welcome back, and thank you for listening to Impactful Business Voices podcast and our monthly Business Lounge episode. Every Tuesday, we showcase businesses that make an impact on their business, in the world, on their clients. And today, we have a special episode. Listen, we know that there's a lot of things going on, and we want to make sure that today, we take care of the things that the most important topics that we have in business. So listen, I'm Nancy Baki.
I'm Anita Larsen. And yes, like Nancy said, we have a super important topic today. And she knows how excited I've been about this. Talking about this is something I'm really passionate about. We're going to talk about outsourcing safely. It's important to us because we see a lot of our clients come to us with these problems where maybe they worked with the wrong person. They weren't able to fix the problems they had. They were overcharged. They lost important business assets. They got stuck with tech that they didn't really need, and now they don't know how to use it. And the list just goes on. And I'm sure at some point in our business journey, all of us have gone through this.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to there's a lot of people that don't even know what outsourcing is. So I think, let's just start with that. And really any business that wants to stop working in their business and they want to work on their business. This is an important call because, Doreen, Anita and I, when we work together, one of the first things that we like to do with our customers is having them free up their time. But to free up their time, they need to understand what's going on and how to do it, be able to give the work to somebody else. So yeah, let's start with what outsourcing is. And then we'll go from there.
Let's do it. And I will say before we even get into this, it's a lot of information. So, take notes if you want, or go to your YouTube channel and rewatch the recording afterwards if you missed something, because it's important and we want to make sure you get it. Feel free to email us with questions. But yes, diving into it.
Yeah. So what's outsourcing?
Yeah. Right. Outsourcing. When we say outsourcing, it simply means hiring people to work on your business. They're not employees of your business, that you're hiring contractors of any kind. It can be virtual assistants, coaches, consultants, strategists, copywriters, designer, and so many different types of roles, right? So we also want to emphasize, we don't want to make anybody mad here, but we're not saying don't outsource. We are saying just outsource safely. And we're not saying that the people you contract with and you outsource work to, that they are bad people. There are amazing people out there. It's just important that you find the right one that's the right fit for you and that you protect your business when you do it.
And there are some really amazing ones, Anita, but there are some that, I'm just going to say it directly. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just transactional and looking for the next buck, right? So you've got to keep our eyes open.
Yeah, that's the thing. That like we said, there's amazing people out there that can help you take your business to the next level. And like we like to say, help you become the CEO of your business, the person you need to be. But there are people out there that just simply don't have your best interest at heart, and they act out of self-interest. So we want to make sure that you know the difference and find the right person to work with, especially in, I think, today's environment and gig economy. Everybody wants to have a side gig. They start their online business. It's easy to do. Then of course you add AI on top of it. And next thing you know, you have all these people that now run their own business. That doesn't mean they necessarily have the skills or experience to do exactly what you need from them. So these, I would call them self-proclaimed professionals. They're available to help you, but it's really difficult to find out who to trust and who actually has the expertise you need. and who's there to help you and not themselves. So we're going to talk about some of the biggest problems we see with outsourcing work, and we're going to give you real practical advice how to protect yourself and your business. So get your notepad ready and let's get started. Nancy, you want to kick it off?
Yep, let's go. So, guys, the first thing that you guys got to do, and by the way, actually, before we start, I want to repeat what Anita said. Get a pen and paper. Remember, this is recorded. There's going to be a lot of information. We just have some really valuable information that we want to make sure that you guys have. And even if you're not outsourcing today, come back to this and listen to it again later. So first, you want to identify reliable professionals out there, right? That it is one of the most important things. It's one of the hardest, but it is one of the most crucial steps to have a successful outsourcing experience from beginning to end. And trust me, we have seen horror stories. So one, you want to make sure you know how to identify that true expert in today's transactional world. So for the importance of references, right? So let's start with that one. References are your window into a professional past success. Ask for them. Notice and learn how they've added value to previous clients, right? A client once hired a marketing company without checking references, somebody that we personally know. The firm had a history of overpromising and underdelivering, and they led to a super costly campaign, more than what they had asked for in the beginning. Again, I don't want you guys, or we don't want you guys, to be stuck with something that you were promised and not receiving. So there we go. The next thing is we want to be able to just evaluate some of their sample work, right? Go and examine what they've done, criticize it, look at the quality, look at the relevance, look at the creativity to it that aligns with your project's needs, right? And then you really want to understand what's their process from beginning to end. It is key to understanding their workflow. You want to inquire about their communication style, their project management. Like, what do they do from beginning to end? I know I'm repeating it, but it's so important. You want to know all those, like, how are they handling unexpected challenges that might happen, right? When you ask a question, see what they answer so that they see that comfort that they have, right? An example, I know Anita had one, like a business chose a web developer based on and actually I had one of these also a few years ago, learned. And they were at an awesome cost. So that client chose to have that low cost, even though we told them not to use them. But that's what happened, right? They ignored the need to review their past work. Website came up. The results were good in the beginning. And once they were done, 2 months later, we had a problem, right? So it could be glitchy work. It could be unprofessional website that really would deter your potential customers coming, right? And there's another one. After 2 months of the completing online, she was a client a few years ago. We had to have another web designer start her over completely. Financially, she lost a lot. Time, absolutely. So this is a must do. Don't forget to focus on that. And work on what's happening after. Like, what's happening after you're working with them. That we call it post-working relationship. Again, we've both seen things that are really not kosher out there in this world, and things that customers get stuck with. And they've gotten so lost that it's so vital to know what that post-engagement process. You want to ask about what are those handover protocols, and what are the ongoing support if they have some. What are what costs are involved, right? You want to really ensure that there's a smooth transition post project, before, throughout the whole experience a year later, right? All that is so important. So ask for some case studies, examples. If they can easily, share some enlightening studies, you could visually see before and afters. Just make sure that it's really their work. I had a guy a few years ago showed me somebody else's work, right? Again, so I know it's a lot of detail, but there are things that once you master how to find somebody great, then you'll be able to just continue that process over and over with other ones. So expert insights, really important. What can you learn from them before you're even a client with them? That's really important, right? Value, real good value. You want them to show that expertise that they have, their knowledge, their integrity. I mean, integrity for me and Anita, it's if you say something, you're gonna do it, right? I know on one call, I'll be able to catch that most of the time anyways. Other than the
If I can just add something to that, Nancy, is, as you're learning their true expertise, like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, don't hold back. This, most likely, if you're hiring somebody to do work in your business, I would say, the majority of the time it's because it's something you don't know how to do. It's not your expertise. So you're hiring somebody for their expertise. And that means you may not know exactly 100% what you need. You may not know the exact right questions to ask. So ask anything you feel like asking. There is no such thing as a dumb question when it comes to protecting your business and your budget and making sure you're hiring the right person. They should be able to answer all your questions and clarify what your actual need is if you're not 100% sure.
Yeah. And on that same note, make sure it's a two-way conversation, right? That's very important. It's not just them presenting and then telling the price and that's it. And that's all. Like, have that conversation, make sure that you are comfortable with the person, all that. So thanks, Anita. And it's really important also to take the time to identify that right expert to help you in your business. Your business is your baby, right? It's like, for me, it's like, would I let anybody take care of my child? Would I let just anybody take care of my business? No. So we have to be very, very, very choosy on who we partner with and speak to, and give them all our privacy, right? And one small error in choosing the wrong outsourcing source, it can ruin a lot of things in your business. It can cost you a lot of money to be able to regain accessibility, put things back to its original state that you gave it to them. So guys, just remember that these are key strategies to really help you differentiate between who's the real deal and who are the pretenders out there in the outsourcing world. And we promise you, if you do this well, guys, you're going to be in better shape. It's really awesome when you're delegating some work to experts, as long as you have the right ones. And, again, making sure, I don't want to go too off, but when you're delegating to the right person, what is that right work that you're also giving them? Don't just tell them this is what I want to do, but you're not even sure if that's what you need, right? If you have no idea what you actually need, get on a call with us, guys. Let's just find out what you really need. And don't let just the world tell you what you need. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
It's a really important step. And another really important step, which goes to, and one of the reasons we wanted to talk about this today, is protecting your intellectual property. Your IP, your intellectual property, it's crucial to your business. It's what sets you apart from other businesses a lot of times, and you need to keep it safe. So if you're not 100% clear on what I mean when I say IP or intellectual property, I will give you the exact definition and we'll give some examples, so like common ones. So intellectual property, or IP, refers to creations of the mind for which exclusive rights are recognized. That's the official definition. So these are things like copyrights, trademarks, patents, but also things like, more common things that you have in every business, which, copyright and trademarks are as well, but your trade secrets. So this could be things like your formulas, your business practices, your specific processes, your designs, how you compile information that has potential economic value. So anything that is really, I want to put it like anything that comes out of your mind that's unique to how you run your business. It's your IP. You got to protect it. It's essential, especially for business owners and creators as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can make sure you protect your IP. So we're going to go through just a few of them, and you should like note this down as action steps if you're not already doing it. NDAs. If you have intellectual property and things you're going to expose to somebody you're going to outsource work to, make sure you put a non-disclosure agreement in place before you share any sensitive information. That is legally binding and ensures their confidentiality, and they won't share your IP. Make sure you're really clear on the scope and ownership of the work you're going to have them do. And this goes into the contracts, which you're going to talk about a little bit more detail. But in your contract, make sure you very clearly define the scope of work, and you also clearly state that your business retains ownership of all IP, anything that is created that comes out of this work, any creations, innovations, strategic insights, anything developed during this project is your ownership. Next, use limited access. We're going to talk about access some more as well, but only provide access to the information that's absolutely necessary for the task at hand. Limited access is going to reduce the chance of something ending up in the wrong hands, right? Make sure you regularly monitor and audit how your IP is maybe being used by external parties. So this could even go outside of outsourcing work. This could be like partnership where you are allowing access to some of your IP, but how are they actually using it? Are they using it the way it should be? Educate your team. Make sure your team knows how important it is, how valuable your IP is, and how important it is to protect it. Use technology to make sure you have secure platforms for sharing sensitive information. Build trusted relationships. So that goes back to what Nancy just talked about. Work with the right people. Work with people you trust. Strong references, good reputation, right? And ultimately, if you're not sure, seek legal advice. So, a lot of times we're like, come and ask Nancy and I. Well, we're not lawyers, okay? So we know lawyers. So if you need somebody, I'm sure we can find you somebody, but seek legal advice. If something happened where your IP might be at risk, or if you're not sure the best practices, if you need help drafting effective NDAs and contracts, talk to a lawyer.
Yeah. And guys, we bring this importance. I know it might sound like a lot and maybe overwhelming, but we bring this to you guys because I know I'm repeating it, we have seen so many people out there just lose money, lose time, and we'd rather you take the right steps, the right process, so that at the end you're in a good place and you're not like, I should have, right? So guys, there's a lot of traps out there. You want to be able to learn how to navigate tech and different platform traps that are out there. So we're going to go into a few common traps that we've seen, that we've known, and how how you could avoid being locked into different programs or tools that businesses don't own, right? That's really, really, really important. And yeah, so is it the navigating tech part that we're going on right now?
Yes, that is what we're going to talk about now. And this part, navigating tech and platform traps, is so important. And Nancy, you and I have both seen so much of this. So a lot of things that are just simply not fair to the business owner and how they're being sold tech and platform. So do you want to talk about that in a little more detail?
Yeah, let's go through that. So it is, Anita and I, we've seen so much of this, guys. I call it not fair to business owners. It's about ensuring you're not just spending money on tools that you really don't need, but really investing in technology that really benefits your business and not just benefits the person you're speaking to, right? So you want to beware, like, how do they do that? You'll notice when you're speaking to somebody, they're doing what we call an upsell. So just beware. They're upselling you to an unnecessary tool. Upselling is you've purchased something or you're about to purchase, and they are upselling you like an extra product or service. So just be very vigilant against that. Again, I'm not saying not to buy what you're being upsold, but just be careful how you're making your decisions, right?
If I can give an example here, Nancy.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I've had clients that have gone through like several CRM platforms in the span of a year or two. And for those of you who have a CRM platform, which you should all have, you know how much of a pain it is to move all your information and learn a new platform and start over fresh. And all because whoever they worked with recommended this is the best one. This is the one you should work with, without taking the time to consider, is this the right one for me? They just take the advice of the person they work with and move everything over.
Yeah. And sometimes, and what, sorry?
Unnecessarily, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like sometimes they will persuade you to really purchase advanced analytical tools, only to realize really like it's exceeding your need, your budget. It drains your resources without adding any value. And we're not against spending money to make some, as long as it's a good value, right? So just be careful. Don't buy what is unnecessary. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in the section. But if you don't know, again, call somebody that you don't know, that you trust. Ask them. And if you don't know anybody, like trust us. You can definitely get in touch with us. It's really for your benefit. So we're always both here for you guys. Send us an email, message us on LinkedIn. We get back to you within 24 hours. And another really important part is ensure the tool compatibility with what you already have. You've already maybe have systems. Make sure they integrate. Make sure they talk to each other. Don't buy something that's going to complicate your life more just because they're telling you to do it, right? So just dig into that. And it's really crucial that when you have new tools, you really look at what you have, what it does, what's the process, and look at all the details. We've seen businesses struggle after adopting some tools that really didn't integrate in their existing systems, and it led them to inefficiencies, frustrations, a lot more. So again, before deciding, just research, ask experts you trust. Never sign the dotted line before you know 100% everything is exactly what it is, and that it has there's no incompatibility issues with what you already have, right? And just set your criteria for tool adoption, right? So before adopting any tool, just again learn to align them to that specific need that you have, and if they're not aligned, take a step back. Realign yourself. And again, if you only follow a vendor's recommendation and you don't do the research, you can be wasting time, money now and in the future. Again, we've seen it. So that's really important. Another really super must is really being able to maintain that ownership and that access control. Listen, guys, your ownership is key. Anybody else has ownership, they can have a disaster in your business. So I want you to just understand, imagine building your digital presence on a platform you don't own. And when the partnership ends, you can lose everything, your identity even, right? So ensure you're building assets in your name, with your control, your username and passwords. There's a high risk of losing your digital assets if you're not the owner. Again, we've seen it. So do yourself a favor, take full control of your access of your documents, of really everything.
And that is such an important topic, Nancy. It's such an important point to make, because I can't tell you how many, and again, with all the years I've been in marketing and working with agencies and working as a consultant, and now I see it on the client side. I can't tell you how many times I've seen clients building their key assets on a platform that they don't own, that the vendor owns, that a consultant owns, that an agency owns. And after the relationship ends, they may not immediately need access, but after a while, they're going to need to get in there and do something. And now they have complete access to it because they no longer have a relationship with that vendor.
Yeah.
and they end up rebuilding major parts of their business. So many times I've seen clients lose full websites because of this. They can't access their websites.
Yeah.
So vendors always have preferred tools and platforms. That completely makes sense, but they should also be well versed and have the ability to work in your platforms. If you have preferred platforms, you are the client. And if you have to use their tools, so if that's more convenient, make sure there's a plan for transferring it over and that it's owned by you in the future. So this goes back to what Nancy talked about earlier, the handoff protocols. What is that handoff? What does that look like? How do you get complete control and access and own what the project was in the beginning? So just basically don't leave the future of your business in the hands of a contractor you work with. Make sure you own it.
Yep. And you want to make sure that you own that for long-term usability and control, right? Like that's it's a great point, Anita. Think long-term, guys. This is really important. Don't just think of today and tomorrow. You really got to think of that future of your business, right? And we know of one, a business used a vendor's proprietary platform for their website, but post-contract, they had no access to modify it, leaving them dependent and stranded. Like we see that not every week, but we'll call it. I mean, if we spoke to more people, we would see it every week. Like like every second week we see one, you know. But it really does lead to long-term issues that we just don't want you to go through. So, guys, to sum it up, when navigating tech and platform choices, it's all about, you know, what's right for your business, not what's profitable or convenient for the outsourcing company, right? Stay in control. Stay true to your needs, right? There are so many businesses out there that feel pressured into using tech tools that they don't need. There's, I don't know, I'm going to call it 1,000 new every day that come out. Guys, we're here for you, right? Ask questions. If we can help you, we will. And if we can't, we're going to find somebody to help you that we trust, because we have integrity, right? We will never, I mean, send you somebody that we don't know, we don't trust, we haven't used, or know somebody that has. So remember, in the world of tech outsourcing, it's easy to get dazzled with all these shiny tools. But today, with all these AIs and I don't know what coming out, stay grounded. Focus on your business needs, and always keep control in your own hands. Don't give it to anybody else, no matter whether, even if you don't know it or understand it, don't do it. And I know that was a lot. But just if we can give you a few action steps, right? Let's go there, Anita. Let's go on some action steps.
Yeah, go ahead.
So first, if you don't know what your business needs, stop. Do not call anybody. Do not outsource. Do not go get a Facebook or SEO or I don't know what else, buy leads or whatever else all these businesses do, right? Most businesses, they think they know what they need, something specific. And when we meet them, it's not the case. And it's not their fault, right? As a business owner, you're very good at what you do. You're a plumber, you're a lawyer, you're an accountant, you're whatever you do, you're great at it because that's what you learned, right? But let's take the time to assess what you actually want. What are your goals? What are the predictable ways that you can reach your goals? The type of process that you actually need? And just ensure that you're making the right decision at the right time. And make sure that you completely understand your needs and what the business actually needs before you make that decision, right?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I want to talk about some of Nancy's points from earlier and a couple of things that we discussed when we talked about IP, and that's, you know, how critical it is to make sure you have access control of both your IP and also other business assets that you own. So we talked about websites and things like that. And again, for those of you who know me, my background is marketing for over 20 years. So I've seen this a lot over the course of my career. I will tell you that right now, I still have access to companies' social media accounts that I worked with over 10 years ago. I have access to random companies' Google Analytics accounts, advertising accounts that I no longer have a relationship with, and they just never revoke the access, and it's just sitting there. And thankfully, I have integrity, and I don't do anything with that information. And where I can, I remove myself and revoke the access myself. But this is really a relevant topic to anything that requires login access. It's relevant to anything that's part of your brand or business in any way at all. So the examples I just mentioned, obviously, so social media, Google Analytics, or any other analytics type metric accounts, advertising accounts, and also CRMs, websites that we talked about earlier, email platforms, email accounts, shared document folders, task management tools, communication tools, so much more. And some of these, it just sounds simple. You're working with a contractor, you add them to your Slack channel. You work with a contractor, you add them to your Trello board. And you have Google Drives that you share with them so they can know things about your company. Wow. Let's talk about action steps and how you need to keep yourself safe. Here are some things you need to put in place. Well, first of all, ask these questions. Do they really need access, or can you just give them the information so they don't have never-ending access to it? Yeah. If they need access, what level of access do they need? Can you limit it so they don't get full admin access, but limited access of some type? Can you give them temporary access using, services like LastPass or something similar? And if they have to have access to anything, make sure you remove or revoke their access once the work is complete. That's key.
That's so important.
Yes, it's so important. So, like I said, remove them from that Slack account, remove them from your Trello board, remove them from accessing that Google Drive folder or document that you shared with them. Anywhere, even if they only had temporary access, even if it was just for communication or sharing information. Establish a process in your business where you document all areas that you provide access to for anybody that you start working with, outsourcing partners or contract workers. And when you offboard them, you know all the areas that you gave them access. Now you go through that list and you remove them from the same areas. Now, it's also good to have a process in place where you audit all your accounts on a regular basis to make sure only the relevant personnel has access to what they need, because sometimes this can go beyond outsourced work, right? This could even be your employees that may have left the company or maybe moved into different roles in different departments as well. So set up a process to monitor it on a regular basis and make sure the right people have the right access.
Yeah. Guys, if you take one thing out of this, document everything.
Yes.
Write it in a process. Write what you give access to whom you give access to, like all that stuff. I know I'm repeating what you said. It is so important because sometimes you'll be like, I don't remember who I gave it to and which one did I give, and did I give him or her that access, right? Like just document everything from day one. I even record all calls with their permission as well, that we'll talk a little bit after. So guys, there's risks for affiliate marketing. Okay, I don't know if you guys all know what affiliate marketing is, and what really it's when we are, Anita and I, we're affiliates. We use products and services of partners that we trust. So this topic, it's often in a gray area, but let me just go a little bit. First, it is a very legitimate revenue stream, but it's very crucial to understand how it might influence the recommendations that you're receiving for people. So first, let's understand affiliate marketing. It's basically earning a commission for recommending products or services. It's a common practice, but here's where it gets a little bit tricky as a client, right? As a business. So even as coaches, like I told you guys, we do some affiliate commissioning. We get affiliate commissions from different things like website companies that we work with. We have a CRM. I mean, we've got our favorite. We use the same one. We love it when our clients use them because they save money, they save time. We have VAs to help them if they need help. I've got a VA team, like anything that will really help a business and we have vetted the business owner, and we know what that company really represents, their integrity is as high as ours, they will be part of who we work with. So again, you just want to make sure what you're recommended, who you're recommended to, is somebody that you can trust. Dory, keep doing this. Anita and I, we would only refer vendors and services that we, again, trust. Either we've worked with them previously, or we have businesses that have benefited working with them, and they've treated them very well, and we've seen their work from before and after. And secondly, like, we don't refer clients services that they don't need. That's really important. I mean, what a waste of time and energy. I mean, this is what you should be expecting from everyone that you meet, whether it's for the first time or not. Transparency is key. I mean, really, I don't even know who sleeps. How do they sleep well when they're not transparent and just like be honest with their clients or prospects, right? So you want to be able to work with ethical consultants, coaches that will really disclose their affiliate relationships upfront, right? I'm not shy to tell customers. I let them know, listen, I'm not the owner of that, but I deal with them because of this, that. And here's your connection to them in case you need anything, right? So they need to tell you why are they recommending that service, and let them, yes, that they earn a commission when you sign up. But most importantly, why do they believe it's the right fit for your business, right? You want to ensure it is a right fit for you. So it's important that they prioritize that your needs, not theirs, right? Not over their affiliate gains. It's all about your needs, guys, not their profits, right? So for example, there's a business that we know that once they really pushed a company to adopt a project management tool. And it's not because it was the best fit for them. It was the best fit for the company because it was profitable for the vendor. The client had no idea what they were buying. They never even used it. They should recommend tools that align with your specific needs. Again, I know I'm repeating, not what aligns with their own pocket, right? So this is where your recommendations need to be based on trust and experience. So it's very important. You want to have somebody that really that they've been vetted, and that that they're going to benefit your business, right? So just ask. When you're receiving a recommendation, just ask the consultant whether they are receiving a commission or not. Ask them, right? Transparency is vital, guys. And yeah.
Can I add, Nancy, that, when it comes to what you said, what our processes are, I think to us and what we do, it is critical for us to have these relationships, to have a network of professionals that we love and trust, and we know they're going to take great care of our clients because our clients rely on us for that service as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is an additional revenue stream for many people, and that's perfectly acceptable. It should be. You're referring business to each other. Sometimes it comes back the other way, but it's important for us that our clients work with the right people, because without the right people to help execute some of the things in our clients' business, we're not doing our clients justice either, right?
Absolutely. That is such a key, because we network every day, and we want to make sure that we network for the right reasons, right? Yeah. So yeah, and guys, also, if you don't know, like, get somebody to get a second opinion, right? Don't be shy to ask, second, maybe even third opinion, find out if a recommended tool feels right, doesn't feel right. Just consult with other experts or peers in your industry or in your network that you might have, and do your own research, guys. Research that recommended tool or service yourself. Don't just say, oh, okay, that sounds good, that's a great price, let me just do it and use my credit card. No, like, go further. Don't make the first decision, that the final decision on that first call, right? Go ahead and take the time, and that person should take allow you to do that without forcing you to purchase on that call. And that can really provide a clearer picture of whether they truly fit your business requirements or not, right? So again, affiliate marketing, it's not something bad. It is crucial to ensure that any recommendations you receive are made with your best interest in mind, and again, not just for the financial gain of the consultant that you're working with. And it's important just to find people to work with that you trust. Again, just make sure it's about your benefits. It's really about their interest, your interest as a client, and not theirs. Just ensure that it's aligning with them every step of the way, right, from beginning to end.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Nancy. It's such a great point, and it's common. So, um, kind of going into that a little bit, let's also talk about ROI on your outsourced work and pricing and costs for outsourced work, right?
Yes.
We have to talk about pricing. It's always going to come up. It's always a hot topic, and especially when it comes to working with contractors. But I want to go a little different direction. So instead of focusing on pricing, let's talk about ROI instead, because it's really critical for you to consider the potential ROI of working with maybe higher cost professionals versus the low cost option. When does it pay off for you to hire hourly employees versus outsourcing more high end for more high end expertise? And let's also look at some potential different payment models. So let's talk about getting the actual value for your money versus just looking at the actual cost, and the cost versus value. It's very important. So let's go through some specific questions that you need to think about before you actually make the decisions to hire somebody, because that could make the difference in whether you hire an experienced professional versus a lower cost hourly contractor. What is the expected outcome from the work you're hiring for? What are you expecting in terms of sales or customer satisfaction or any metrics that comes from this work that will positively impact your business? Are there long-term effects that will potentially add costs down the line? So, is there further support needed? Is there going to be touch-ups? What's the long-term effect of the project you're hiring for? And are there risks associated with the skill sets of hiring somebody, or can you hire somebody that has less experience? Now, if you're concerned with the cost, don't be afraid to negotiate different payment models. There may be potential for working on a performance-based model, depending again on the expected model outcome. So say if you're hiring a marketing company to do lead generation for you, find out if it's an opportunity to pay them per lead, so you can easier calculate your ROI on that, or per qualified lead or something like that. Is it, and then also consider, we go back to the actual skill set versus just doing the legwork. Do you simply need somebody to make outbound calls for you, or do you need somebody to put in place a full-fledged campaign to make sure you get the quality you need and do a larger part of the process? So that's why you need to ask yourself these questions, like what do you actually need in your business? So it goes right back to what you said earlier, Nancy. You need to define your needs before you do anything. What are your criteria? What are your actual needs? What are the needs of your business? Another thing, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you touched something really, really important. What are the actual needs? And I just want to give an example, because I know it's off, but I think it's perfect timing. Like, let's just say, for example, you need a landing page, right? Let's just say, for example, so you want to go and find somebody that can create the landing page, that can create the messaging. I want you to understand something. We don't want to just hand off the landing page to somebody that knows the tech stuff. Before you hand the tech work, you need to make sure that you are holding that person accountable with the information that you actually need. So it's not the landing page issue, it's a messaging issue. So if you need to work on a message, then you need to work with somebody that's not in that same space. They're tech. They have no idea. It's like most website designers, I'm not going to say all of them because I know a good 10% of them that are really great. Most website developers, they're just going to send you They're going to put together a beautiful website. They're really great at it, but they may not be specifically good at how to get leads, how to convert leads in your website, how to, get more transactions from your clients, et cetera, without going on to that side.
Yeah.
Right. So again, just make sure whoever you're going to hire, go back to, why do I need this landing page, CRM versus this CRM? Like, just make sure that you've got that on the table first, right?
And that's a great example, Nancy, of like hiring for the skill set you need. You don't hire a web designer to write the messaging on your website necessarily, unless that's also a skill set they have, or they have like copywriters on hand.
Yes.
And I cannot tell you how many times that happens where a web developer is hired and they're like, wait, can you just write that copy for me? No, they're not copywriters. They don't know how to write converting sales copy that's going to work for you. They don't know enough about your business to know what your unique value proposition is, your positional market dominance, and what are you going to say there. They don't know who your customer is necessarily unless you have that conversation. So hire for the purpose you need.
Yeah. I'd even say that if they don't ask it, I'd say thank you very much and run the total opposite way. Like, really, right?
And going back to the cost, we talked about potentially asking for a pay per performance type pricing models. Another thing to consider in today's economy is actually considering bartering in exchange for services. There are actually a website where you can sign up and you can specifically barter and exchange services with other business owners. So again, depending on what business you're in, what industry you're in, and what business you're in need of, that's the potential. So consider that. The key is set clear objectives and deliverables in your contracts. Don't leave any doubt as to what's expected and what responsibilities either of you have. That will also help ensure that your ROI is measurable. And then, Nancy, I know that you're going to talk about contracts.
Yes.
So let's dive into that, because that's a huge topic. And
Absolutely.
I think our last one we're going to go through.
Yeah. But you said something really important, Anita, bartering. Just because you get something for free in exchange of another service doesn't mean that you don't do the same thing as if you were paying for it. Just want to make sure that you guys remember that. Okay. It's very, very important. So let's go talk about contracts. Look, we want to be able to have clear and beneficial contracts, right? These are not just formalities. They're really your safety net. They're your roadmap in any outsourcing venture that you're going. So you really want to begin by setting some clear expectations for both parties, right? Not just for them, not just for you, for both sides. Like, we've seen situations where there's vague terms that led to different misunderstandings, and a client expecting a full-fledged marketing campaign and receiving just only a basic social media management, right? So like, that's a huge misunderstanding, right? So record everything, right? A lot of people, they get lost, right? So if you have it recorded, you're aligned. And look, guys, if there's a misalignment of expectations, that might lead to unsatisfactory outcomes. So why go through that, right? So just set it straight right from the beginning. Anita said earlier, NDAs for yourself, for them, very important. So always consider signing NDAs. If they do not talk about it, you offer it, right? We know a tech firm that actually failed to use an NDA, and that led their unique app idea. It got leaked, and it got replicated by a competitor, right? So just really important, guys. Also, Anita brought up earlier, protect your IP, your intellectual property. Your IP is so precious, right? So just ensure that the contract specifies that all creations and innovations developed from your business remains your property, right? So remember that the company that lost its software rights, it's an outsourcing firm, right? So that could set you back for so many years. You don't want to lose anything, especially something that you've worked so hard to protect. Protect yourself so you don't have any setbacks, right? And define any specific deliverables and responsibilities that you both have. We always say when you have it spelled out exactly what you're paying for, you're really ensuring that it's not vague, it's really specific, and that you're not going to receive any incomplete projects that you both thought that were supposed to be delivered or you thought that were supposed to
Mhm.
be, and just make sure that everything is clearly defined,
It kind
right?
of just goes to what we just talked about, Nancy. Like
Yeah,
if you're hiring somebody to build you a landing page, make sure it spells out who is responsible for providing copy for that landing page, who's responsible for providing image for
yes,
that landing page, right?
yes, yes. And again, don't have a landing page guy or woman create your content. They don't know your business like you, right? You need somebody that, so make sure everything aligns properly, detailed, who's doing what, who's responsible for what. Um, and also when it comes to payment terms, what's your engagement? How long are your terms? If there's a cancellation, what occurs? If you're not happy with them, if they're not happy with you, vice versa, right? You need this all documented on the contract. So just be very precise on the duration of the engagement, the payment terms. And again, we've seen this too, businesses that end up paying more due to ambiguous payment clauses. So,
Can I give an example here, Nancy?
yeah, I
Because
know you had one. I know you had
yeah,
a
this
client like
actually
that.
happened to me. This is when I was still doing, I had my marketing consultancy and it was like early on. And you will find this as you start building your contracts. You're going to run into traps and you're going to make mistakes. It's going to make you amend your contract. Now my contracts are amended. It doesn't happen again, but we had a contract with a company. Part of it was web development and there were other marketing pieces. And then it took them quite a while to get through all the information they needed on their end. So they ended up going into a long break, close to a year. And then all of a sudden they came back and they're like, yeah, we're ready to continue now. At that point, it's basically you're starting from scratch. So, and we didn't have any engagement terms, we didn't have any specific engagement period outlined on the contract, so we couldn't say sorry, it's too late. We were still actually under contract with them. So we had to basically start all over and redo all the work and start fresh. So now I have in my contracts, if I was still doing marketing consulting, I would have in my contract that if the work is paused for more than 90 days, the contract is null and void.
Yeah.
Because, and those are things that you don't or initially think about because you don't know what's going to happen with the
Yep.
people you engage with,
Yep.
on either side, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So cancellation term, guys, make sure that you've got it on both parties, right? It's really important that if you decide this relationship is no longer for you, right? Or they decide to leave for whatever reason, what are the financial implications, right? How do you get out of it, right? And how are the handoffs being done once everything is done? What happens after the project is completed? How is it handed off to you? Is there support that's needed? Is there something that you need outlined to be able to take that? Or, are you going to end up having, left with, malfunctioning products or service and no support to help you? So you want to just ensure that your continued support is there, that you're not going to have any operational challenges after, especially if you're not techie like me. You don't want to go through that. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg. And lastly, guys, document everything, every call, every email, every Zoom. Make sure you've got your meeting notes. We remember a dispute once arose over verbal promises that were not in the contract. And that led
Mhm.
to legal complications. The call was recorded. So if you can record. Document everything, guys. You're going to be in a safer space, I promise you. We've seen legal issues that they were not nice, right? It's not fun to go through. I call it a waste of time, a waste of money. Like, why? And it's another thing, like, why do you need to go through that, right? All you want is to have a successful journey. So just do it well. Take all of these, re-listen to this 2-3 times, right? So draft some comprehensive contracts. Work with legal experts to draft that contract. Make sure that both your engagements, including the deliverables, the timelines, the payment terms, your IP rights, and ensure that if they have the contract, that all your points that you want added is described. So even if they're not there, ask them to go add them, resend them to you, right? Resend it before signing. Do not sign anything unless you are 100% comfortable that everything that you need and that they need are in there, right?
Yeah. I think
I mean, we can keep on going. I mean, me and you, we've got
we're over time.
I
So
know.
I
Oh my
we need
God,
to
look
wrap
at
it.
that.
This is a
guys.
huge topic, and probably should have been 2 episodes, but we felt it was really important for us to get it out there. We're starting a new year fresh, and let's go into it feeling safe and secure about our business, and we have solid processes in place, and really can grow our business to the next level this year.
Absolutely. And yes, sorry for overwhelming you guys, but again, connect with Anita and I. We'd be more than happy to talk with you and look over what your real need is, and we'll go from there.
And we hope it was useful information and that you're able to take some notes. If not, like we said, please go to our YouTube channel, Impactful Business Voices, to watch it back, and anything that you may have missed. We're always open to chat. Please reach out. And as always, if you are an impactful business owner, you have a story to share, we'd love to speak with you and possibly have you as a guest on the show. So reach out to us on LinkedIn or email us at info@impactfulbusinessvoices.com. Nancy, what's happening next week?
I am so excited. So guys, next week, you cannot miss it. First of all, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay. You'll get all the notifications Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Next week, we're speaking to somebody who has made a huge impact in both of our lives. We are going to be speaking with Malcolm Reed. He is our partner, our mentor, our coach, our friend. He's the founder and CEO of Pro Global. He literally he's celebrating his 10 years this year. It's a company that was built on helping business coaches achieve their goals and their outcomes and really have that consistent and predictable revenue and making a real impact in the world and having that real-time freedom that we're looking for, not just talking about. So he's going to be speaking to us and all of you about the importance of coaching and why business owners need coaches, how to find the right coach, and how they can help you. And if you've even thought of becoming a business coach yourself or adding coaching to your toolkit, because if you help businesses out there, he's going to also be talking about how to become a coach. So join us next week as we get all your coaching questions answered. And until next week, guys, go make an impact.
Thank you for listening to Impactful Business Voices. Subscribe